and just want to give a short presentation about these things that I've been doing at our university for about the last 3 years. And the title is Personal Learning Environment to support peer-based and lifelong learning. Now, needless to say, I think this is happening all around the world. You notice that large lectures, they are still applicable and they are still abundant, but increasingly, students also need to learn by themselves, by forming groups, on a continuous basis, on an ad hoc basis. And I find that in most cases, universities may not be able to attend to all the needs in supporting their learning online, virtually, as well as outside the classroom. So that prompts me a few years ago to think about how can we develop some kind of learning environment, especially mobile and virtual learning environment to support students so that they can learn about themselves, with the teachers and with other people. And more importantly, this learning environment can continue to be operated after they have finished the semester or even after they have graduated from the university. So the design rationale goes like this, assume that any person, in this case maybe a teacher, she's reading a lot of information, she receives a lot of information, but of course, like us, we have friends, we have good friends, and our friends also send us information. This is a student, and exactly the same thing as we live in a society with lots and lots of information. Every day in our life, we belong to different circles. In some circles, you may be a leader. In some circles, you may be a follower. In some circles, you may be an influencer. In some circles, you may be a backseat rider. So, can we actually come up with an environment so that everybody can personalize, customize your learning environment, yet at the same time can share, can learn together on an ongoing basis? And I'm saying that yes, we can. As I said, we have evaluated many different tools, public domain tools, on the web, especially Web 2.0, and it's gone through a different number of versions already. The latest one that we are using is using a combination of the Google Address Book, using Google+, Google Communities. And we were using Google Reader, but it was being shut down. So we switched to Feedly, which is a reader which is very similar to Google anyway. So this is something like a semi-automatic bulletin board, if you can imagine it. In other words, it's got discussions, it's got articles coming in automatically, and people can discuss, people can annotate, they can share from one group to another group, and so forth. So how does collaboration and learning actually occur in this environment? We've set up those feeds. So when those feeds come in, me and my students and other people who are in the circle can look at them, can annotate them, and push them into the PLEN. We can also post, just like any other bulletin board or any other discussion forums, new postings with links from anywhere into as a new posting. I've also set up links from the major internet repositories like SlideShare, like YouTube, like Dockstop, all the major places where you may see new articles, and library databases where you monitor the publishing of new articles that is relevant to your research, among other means. So together it's quite a context-rich environment so that me and my students and graduates together can share and co-learn together. I gave them some incentives as well. For most classes that I operate, that use the PLEN, I give them 10% for constructive and persistent contributions. And I find that it's the right proportion. Not too much, not too low. And indeed, with that 10%, I can get students excited to start learning about this. And I find that about 30% of the students remain as active contributors even after the semester. So, using this environment, I can continue to relate what I'm saying in class with what I picked up from the internet, from newspapers, from magazines, from journals. I can supplement my lectures. When I'm doing a lecture, maybe I don't have time, maybe information is just not available. And a few weeks later, when it's available, I can go back and draw up or pull up that particular slide so that students can look at it. He was talking about this, and now there is a case study that's available for them to read. In the traditional semester running environment, that may not be possible. I can use that to collect a weak signal. I won't go into details, but in this case, a student took a picture of me, and he actually confessed that he was worrying about this subject, but after the first lecture, he found that it's very useful, so he decided to take it. I also bring in graduates into the virtual learning environment so that graduates can share their knowledge about the profession, their knowledge about that particular subject, if they're working in that area, with the other students, because they're in the same stage group. And I'm led to believe that the students like it, and they are quite open in discussing, because on the left you can see that after some time, a student actually speaks about, he disagrees with me about what's something that I've said. Now, how many times Asian students actually refute a professor's statements in a class? I have never encountered that, but they are quite free to discuss that. And also, on the right, I can see a graduate sharing his learning experience with the current class, which is great. I can also use this platform to learn and engage about students' understanding. For example, based on what I've said in the class, I speak fast, I know, and I cover a lot of things, right? And I put articles in there, and I can monitor over a course of a few weeks, half a semester. I can see that maybe some articles, the students only respond about 4 or 5 times, but for some other articles, I hit the hot button and something like 35, 50 replies in there. So I can reflect upon myself and with my students as to whether it's something that is really exciting this learning community, or it's something that I didn't say clearly enough in the lecture, therefore they don't understand or they hesitate to comment. So that's a really useful way. Mobile access, no problem. And the result of that is very, very encouraging. Repetitively, I've got data from students saying that they like it. They like it very much because they reckon that they have learned more than what the syllabus can offer them. And I thought this one is very interesting. On the top left, the students expressed that they would like other subjects that were not taught by me to operate this PLEN as well. On the bottom right, 95% of the students continue to operate the PLEN after the semester is over. And I said earlier, 30% are active contributors. So universities now is asking me to expand and permeate the PLEN to other subjects, other disciplines, and other faculties. Right, so in this case, demonstrate a higher order of willingness and self-discipline. A student trying to gather, reach out to other students in a subject which is not taught by me, and they said that even the lecturer teaching that subject is not interested in the PLEN. The student will set up themselves because they reckon that it's a nice tool. In some of the assignments and some of the exam scripts that I'm up, I can see that students consciously and subconsciously refer to something that they have learned, they have studied, they have come into contact in the PLEN. So demonstrate another order of understanding and also adoption. I won't go into the details. I've said some of those already. It's a fascinating tool, I believe, and I encourage everybody to use it. It's not proprietary to me. I'm using public domain Google tools, but trust and spending time with it are important. Right? So you're not going to set up a PLEN and just left it there for the students. You have to put time in and participate. Having said this, we are using Google, which is in the public cloud, and also very easy and very scalable. So in other words, I don't need IT support from the university to run this environment. And the other big advantage is I'm now at a stage where I can actually fuse classes, which physically is not possible. I can fuse a year 3 and year 4 class in the same discipline. And because the year 4 class will have more experience, and a master class, for example, students will have working experience as well. So I can, using this platform, combine classes within one university and observe how the senior students can, to fertilize knowledge specialization with the less experienced students. And I'm just about to share classes or fuse classes from multiple universities as well. For those of you who are interested, you can go to SlideShare, look up the PLEN and my name, and you'll find some of my students sharing in there in English and in Putonghua. I'm sorry, maybe if I pick up a Korean student, there will be Korean sharing as well. In order to sustain it, I also report to the university there are a number of factors that I think are important. In order to make it sustainable, I'm not asking for additional funding, but the kind of technology has to be easy to use. Very accessible. You have to continue to look after it. You have to put time into spending discussions and moderating it. And very importantly, it has to be very easy and convenient for academic staff to configure. Otherwise, you can't leave it just to technical staff to do. You've got to give the students a little bit extra, not just marks, a little bit extra. Like Are we using this tool to help to share everyone's understanding? Are we using this tool to together combat information overload? We are, right? Are we using this tool to breed a learning community so that after class, after a semester, people still get together and discuss about these things? We are. All right, just to finish off, our latest development, we have morphed to a more high-order version of the PLEN. Since I've been operating this for about 3 years, I should realize that different groups of students, I should have realized much earlier, but I also realized that different groups of students have different needs. Right? Undergraduate students, they're keen to score well, good marks, and good grades, and also keen to embark and on their career and start their career early and do good in industry. Part-time postgraduate students, because they're part-time, that means that they're already working, and they have a slightly different set of objectives besides studying. They also want to mix with other people, networking, expanding their social and professional network, and also stay in tune with job prospects, industry trends, and so forth. Then I also have a third group, research students, and this group obviously full steam ahead on their own academic research, and they're very keen to receive and monitor the publication of articles, any articles that is highly relevant to their own research disciplines. So armed with that piece of information, I further customize additional tools to boost up the PLEN. So now we have 3 different types of PLEN for different groups of students. And last semester, I've just deployed this to 6 of my classes as well, to over 200 students, and we're just analyzing the result. It will be very soon that I can publish this. So this is the latest form of the PLEN. Depending on the types of students, we will configure, or we'll give you guidelines to configure a PLEN for yourself in your own discipline that you can further customize. And you can see that there's something wrong with the mouse here, but anyway, if you go down to the right-hand side, right bottom, you can see that with this latest version of the PLEN, I have brought together teachers, students, different types of students, graduates, and also guests, which are typically visiting lecturers or respected practitioners in the field. All right, it's a fast-paced presentation, but anyway, I hope you pick up something. If you go to SlideShare, and you can pick up many of my presentations there. Some are on PLEN, and some of our students are sharing. With that, I'd like to thank you for your concentration, and once again, a very good morning to all of you. Thank you, Chairman.